That's awesome. Welcome to Forever Exiled. I'm Justin, aka Tags.
I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
Nice job, Aaron. Literally in the 10 seconds of silence that we do at the beginning of every episode, you managed to...
It's not my fault. It's on D&D, so you'll never guess who it is. It's definitely not the school calling.
Not the school calling.
It's my wife.
Episode 288 of Forever Exiled. Big shout out to our Patreons. Thanks everybody who resubbed up this week. We love your faces. Patreon gets you access to After Dark. It is more of us. It's our podcast after the podcast. Also known as AD. FEAD. That's what you get.
Fiad.
Yeah. Fiad. Yeah, plus a sticker.
No, sounds stupid that way. The sticker's awesome, though.
The sticker is awesome.
It is awesome.
Anyway, thank you everybody for your support. We love your faces. How's your week? Ty, let's get it going. How's Tyler's week?
Oh, we got blow by this week because I got a lot.
There's not much to talk about, is there?
Well, life's good, man. Life's good.
Your flooring,
weather's been
done?
Phenomenal. Well, it's getting done today, and everything's gone on schedule. So for those that heard last week's episode and the last 2 years, house has been under repair for a long time.
I thought it was happening during the week.
And it was this week, yes, but it's Monday to Friday. But like it's been crammed, and they have stayed on schedule, which is phenomenal. All these different tradespeople working together, and it stayed on schedule. So
sweet.
The whole upstairs flooring is done. We have a big semi-container, semi-truck container in our driveway with all of our stuff in it. And so it's unfortunately been an expensive week. Through loopholes with how our system works, not everything was covered like it would be under a normal insurance claim. So we've spent way more money than we wanted to this week, but all with good things. And yeah, so today's the last day, and they're just doing the touch-ups on the baseboards, painting. They're currently bringing in the furniture. I hope you have the backup.
Oh, good. They are bringing in furniture. Sweet.
They are. Yeah, it's going to be done today, which is
awesome.
Great, with the exception of screw ups,
sure.
Which so far there hasn't been any, which has never happened in our existence of house ownership. Even the people that were coming to get rid of the squirrels that dug into the roof, they've come back 3 times, and they still have to come back because on one side they did a good job, but on the other side of the chimney they did a lazy job. So anyway,
why are you worried about the backup? Are you thinking that
because they've already bumped the power bar that all the internet is connected to upstairs?
Well,
it's already cut off before. I was
worst case
going to play
your recording still keeps going, right? Even if the internet goes off, it just means we don't see each other or hear each other anymore. So you just leave that
so I guess I
running.
could save it and then we continue. But anyway, I already emphasized that electrical corner, hey, just keep the furniture around it. I'll fix this part later. So hopefully nothing happens, but just in case, I appreciate your patience and thank you. We've had a great week, man. Nothing to complain about. Went swimming. Had a good old family time.
Nice.
Yep.
That's good.
And how about you?
My week was good.
It's so awesome because every week we ask
I try to
each
look
other
for
how we're
something
doing.
fun.
I know, but it was like you weren't expecting the question this time. And it's like, well,
you come down. What do you mean?
288 is this one?
My week was good. It was busy, back at work and doing. Yeah, it was awesome. I was between a bunch of offices quite a bit this week, so it was a lot of driving, which was good some days, and then other days the weather was garbage.
Are you all caught up with, having taken the week off from?
No, not yet, but that's fine. It's it's still a process, but I'll get there. It's getting closer. What else did we do? So we watched a new show, which was really good. It's called Paradise on Disney Plus.
Okay.
Really good show.
You're enjoying it, hey?
Yeah, we finished the first season this week. Christine and I, it was very good. I really liked it. Cool story.
Wait, what? Paradise only has 1 season.
Yeah. There's another one coming, but yes, we finished the first season.
Oh, did they say so?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was cool. It was a really good show. And then Sophia and I made our own smash chicken. Oh, it's coming. I didn't even have a notepad open ready for this tie. Did not. I wasn't prepared.
Oh, I even burped a little after. Ugh.
Don't worry, I got
That's how much I care about your week and your chicken.
Yeah, we made our own
picture about your chicken, though. That's cool.
Yeah, we made our own chicken smash burgers. Yes, Sophia and I made them. Made our own ranch sauce.
Okay.
was delicious.
Did
It
you
was
just
so
scoop
freaking
mayo out of the jar and call it ranch?
good. No, it was mayo, sour cream, buttermilk. I don't remember what else went in it, but she was great. She loved it. It was fun. And
Good for you.
my oldest got a dog, so he was sending me pictures of his dog that they decided to get.
Heath, really? What kind of dog
Yep.
they get?
Oh God, I don't know. Something. Yeah, you're asking the wrong person. I don't
Did
know.
they
It's a
order
white
it
dog.
or find it?
No,
did
they went
go
to a
a-
breeder out on the island. And let me see. Did he say what it was
Yeah,
called?
at least bring it up. Let the dog
trying to
lovers know.
I'm trying to find there were so many messages between him and Christina in our cockapoo.
Oh, okay.
She is a white dog, tiny dog. That's all I got.
Wow.
It's cute. Yeah.
Excuse me, officer. My son's dog is missing. Okay, father. Could you describe the dog
White.
for us? White.
Small,
Okay, things are
Yeah.
looking good.
2 eyes. Although I only actually saw a picture of one, so could be anything.
Don't go to that breeder.
Yeah. So anyway,
Okay.
chatting with him a lot about his dog, and yeah, you know what?
Wait,
it was a good
isn't
week.
Matthew allergic?
Yeah, but apparently this thing has hair, not fur.
Oh yeah,
So I
just
guess
like
allergies are
There's
different?
a few of those. That's what that's why like poodles breeding everything or mixing everything with poodles, like
Which is this
labradoodle,
one,
this
yeah.
doodle, this doodle.
Cockapoo.
It gets all hair. Like our family dogs, my parents were always, and my sister were always into Bijons, and it's the same thing. Hair.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. So that's good. They're dealing with he said to me, one of the first things he says, he's like talking about how, it's their dog now. It's so weird, like having it's their input as to how they deal with this dog. So he's like, and I can't remember how he worded it, but it was 100% trying to put a jab at me. Like, first thing we said was, she's allowed on the couch because we don't let our dog on the
Yeah, that's right.
I was like,
That's
all right, cool. I hope your
Yeah.
brand new couch does well. Chica's not coming on the friggin' couch. So, yeah, it was a good week overall, man. It was very, very busy. I like it. I went and saw to a pain clinic this morning. So I'm going to get a epidural something into my tailbone in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Broke your coccyx.
So yeah, broke my coccyx. So yeah, I'm going to go and get that done in a couple weeks, and hopefully that will help get me through to July. The whole goal is just getting me through to July.
It'll work for that long. And
it's different for.
Are you getting it done locally, or can you say where?
Yeah, I am getting it done locally. So
Place I go to?
maybe it might have been, but the guy I met with was great. The doctor there, so they're going to do that. I think for most people it's like 2 to 4 months. In the end, even getting me through to July is not going to be enough because that's just the consult for the surgery. So surgery could be anywhere from 3 to 52 weeks after that consult. So
And that consult is in, you said July.
Yeah.
Hey, but you know what?
So-
52 weeks.
Hey man, I've done it for 20 years. If I have to wait a year, I can manage
That's
the
right.
pain. I'm tired of being on drugs, and I'm tired of all the shit that's going on with my legs right now. And so hopefully this will help me at least. I would love to get back into exercising. Like I miss it, and I really want to do it, and I haven't been able to. So hopefully this will help me
Exercising.
get back
You've
into
been
working with
gimped
the
for
physio.
so long that you forget what exercise is like. You're going to be so
No, I
excited
can't
to
wait.
exercise, and then you're going to start exercising. You're going to be like, this is I go home now. I got to get a drink, put on a TV show, rest
Yep.
my beer on my belly.
Mm-hmm. You never know.
Well, good for
what'll
you,
happen.
Justin. That's exciting. Like the end is
We're getting
coming.
closer, and hopefully this helps a little bit with the pain, and I can chill on the drugs a little bit. That would be great. So
And this is all because of your car accident with your probe.
no, it all originally started from getting hit by a go-kart.
Right.
But
I remember that.
It's progressed over the years, and then the stupid fall in March of last year is what made it just freaking brutal. So I haven't had this same level of pain since like that fall is where it got way worse. So
TSN turning points, just 3 TSN turning points.
every time I talk to a doctor and they're like, so what medication are you on? And I tell them this Lyrica pregabalin, and then I tell them the dosage, and they're like, what? I think the normal daily dosage is supposed to be like 150 milligrams, I think it is. And I take 300 twice a day.
Hey,
So
just chug it, man.
just give me,
go.
listen, if
go.
it'll take away the pain, I'll take it. Literally, I will take it. So, yeah, man, it's good. It's been a good week.
Good.
And I played a lot of Path of Exile, which was a lot of fun.
Same Z's. And I actually have no lawn updates because we've just been having so many trade workers coming in and out of the house all week. And the squirrel people keep screwing up. So
lawns are looking good, though.
Yeah,
like,
they are. I'm enjoying how, like, my bare spots aren't filling in. My lawn decides to spread into my garden instead of to the bare spots in the lawn. But whatever, we'll have a talk. When the house settles down, I'll go outside and give it a good lecture, and maybe that'll help.
If this injection helps me, he's like, just don't go doing something stupid like moving a fridge. And I'm like, all right, fine, but I'm going to try and level my lawn then.
That's why I'm going to do something else.
That's my goal. My goal is to try and do that this spring.
The movers, our fridge isn't empty. And the last time they moved our fridge, everything was at the front ready to fall over. So I'm going to have to do that before the kids come home from school. That's a them problem, Ty.
That's a them problem.
No, it's my kid's
like
problem because then
it?
Something actually, like the pickle jar falls on my kid's toe and then the toenail pops off in 3 days. And
wow, you got some pretty specific things. Let's talk about Path of Exile.
Say it's happened before.
So, I opened your This Week in PoE and was like, nope, closing that one.
So okay. Let me skip ahead to
it was a lot of
PoE
fixes, hot fixes, patches, which is great.
Yeah, but let me hang on. Done the intro.
Are you going to count them?
Done that. No. Well, no, okay. But so I received a lot of criticism from new listeners. Not every one of our listeners, but I received a lot of criticism from parts of the community for my preference to the first 3 months of early access, how it was released, the state of the game, all that kind of stuff. But this is what GGG and early access has been like since the 0.2 patch has been released. They're completely different beasts. Now, we've said this before, also leading up into that. They're like, hey, for maybe the last 3 weeks, a month, GGG is back. It's good to see them back. It's cool. Like, you're seeing jokes, you're seeing posts, you're seeing interactions. It seems like they know at least what next week's going to bring. But like, they have a main patch. They're consistently pumping out changes. And this is what I thought the first 4 months was going to be like. Because this is what GGG is normally like for the first month or two of a normal league launch for Path of Exile 1 when that was their only baby. So this is kind of what not like my expectations matter, but this is what I pictured Path of Exile's early access to be like. What it's like from 2.0 till now is what I expected, 0.1 and on to be like. So this has been exciting. There are so many posts about what's coming, the changes that are making, the changes they're not going to make, the changes they are thinking of making, but they have to come up with a better idea, the patches that are coming soon. And there's so many patches. Sure, some of them are for substantial things like crashes, and there's been a lot of crashes, but there's also just been so many tweaks. Hey, we're changing this skill on the fly. We're changing these monsters on the fly. We're changing monster health. I'm like, so many things. And this is what I expected early access to be like. So I am so excited. Whether people agree or not with Justin's and my opinions regarding the changes that we'll talk about in the next hour, we dream of 45-minute episodes, Justin, but it's never going to happen.
No.
But especially with releases like this.
Let me just save the person who's going to make the post. Well, if you cut out your personal life.
That's the best part. And if you don't like personal life talk, then just
come on. Learn to love it. We're 288 episodes in. It ain't changing.
but this is what I love.
Yeah.
Like, whether the game's going in my direction or not is fine. Whether I end up liking the game or not. Now, I'm pretty confident that I will, but this is what makes early access fun for me. Like, this week in PoE, so from the 0.2 patch, it was like a league launch, right? So I start a new character. I'm starting a Lich, and I'm going through, and I'm just at like the very end of Act 2 with that character. And then GGG comes out with a whole bunch of other changes, huge changes. And I'm like, all right, time to restart and see what those changes are like. This is what I love about early access.
I played last night. I decided to make a witch. So I started a witch last night. I was playing for a while. I load up my social menu, my friends, and I'm like, oh, Ty's on. And then I look, I'm like, level 2, witch, and I lost my mind for a few seconds. I was like, oh my God, we're back to last release. He's going to make like 7 witches. It was all your sorceresses.
No, but you see, like, and we'll get into it, but these changes were so fundamental. And you know my passion about like the default vanilla new player experience going through. They made so many changes that impacted that. So I'm like, obviously I have to restart. It took me 800 hours to get to the end of Act 2, but I'm good. I'll do it again.
Yeah, there were a lot of changes.
Yeah. So anyway, that's it's been very, very exciting for me to enjoy early access this way, irrelevant to what the changes are. It's just nice to, here's a change, here's a change, here's a change, here's an improvement. We're adding this, this is our focus. And it's like every day there's 2 or 3 tweets. And even if it was once every 2 days, it's been really nice to see this level of activity and control, I guess you could say. Like when early access was first launched, we didn't hear from GGG for like 2.5 months. There was zero communication for a long time, and it seemed like everything was on fire. We commented on it, even they themselves admitted it or commented on it as well. It was almost like things were lost. Right. And so now that GGG is being GGG, this is just so fun. But let's get into the changes. Like this week in PoE, Justin was laughing as to how big the notes are. I put every single patch just from this past week. So we record on Fridays. So we're talking the 4th
that couldn't be just this week
to the 11th. It is.
Well, but I see in your notes because I scrolled further down, but like
we recorded on Saturday last week.
Right. But like the all non-unique changes to health, that was
right.
in.
So that happened on Friday last week. So it's still within
we talked
the week.
About it after
so yeah,
they
posted on Friday and then we talked about it on Saturday. So 1, 2, 3.
It's like 75.
18 patches in 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
And 2, 3 of them are huge.
Yep.
Right. There was the B patch and then there was the E patch, and those were absolutely massive. And then they came out with, what is this? A bunch of good announcements too, right? Like a bunch of the things they're working on, obviously all the patch stuff that's coming up, new microtransactions coming out.
For skills now.
Why don't we go through the patches in a sec and just quickly touch on the announcements? You could with that?
Yeah, because I wanted to talk about 2 things you just mentioned already. I was going to ask you, did you ever watch the interview with Scissorin that he did with the 2 of them?
No, I never bothered with the Scissorin interview.
So I watched it just because I was playing and I was curious to hear what they had said. But what we're working on, one of the things that stuck out to me was Jonathan was a little bit bothered by the fact that people were bugged about it, but he said that those posts were like what we're working on today, not what we're working on, what we still have going in the queue. And I was like, well, then you worded that post wrong, because if I read that as what we're working on, I expect that that's not just like what today's project is, like, you know,
care about your daily tasks.
Yeah, because it does that. I can understand why people then go like, well, what about this? What about this? So either don't do them or be more specific, I think, about what it is that post is supposed to be. But the microtransaction thing, very cool. I looked at it, but I also was like, I have I don't even know how many.
1,000 MTX waiting to be used. Right.
Yeah.
I have my portals on random. Every time I start a new character, the first thing I do is I load up that portal, and it's that stupid blue portal. And every time I'm like, oh, I spent all this money on portals and I see that blue. No way. So then I always one blue portal, and then I'm like, oh, right. And I go and I change my MTX, and I always go to the random portal one.
Me too.
Right. And
there's only like 3.
I haven't reached maps yet in early access, but I always do the one where all the portals are going to look the same. I'm not a fan of all the 6 different ones being random portals. Maybe I will in this one. I don't know, but we'll see. But anyway, that's the one I always go to. But all I have is one portal.
Yeah,
and so it's on random, but it's always the same portal. And it's the same portal. And it's one that I bought with, I got in one of the packs with Path of Exile too. So it's not even one that's been converted from PoE 1.
So I'm excited that they're making stuff, but I also was like, can I have some of my other stuff, please? Knock. I know that they're working on it, but yeah, and the stuff that they made look great. And their what's the mystery box thing? Some of those things look awesome.
Right.
So freaking cool.
I love a lot of that stuff. I think that what they do is amazing. A lot of the times the styles of the armor sets, they're not for me. Like I know the game I'm playing, but I always like the realistic looking armor sets. You know what I mean? And a lot of the times they're magical or way out there, and fine. Like, you know, there's a billion people that love that stuff, but these two armor sets, they look
really cool.
I love sets of them. Yeah, very cool. I really like them. I think one of my favorite sets is the Scholar set. It's ancient in Path of Exile 1. It's bland, but it's just like, it's an overcoat. You know what I mean? And it's got like the cool trails
on the back, right? It's got like the...
it used to have... It came with...
it's like
not a backpack.
Or like
it came with a wing attachment that I didn't like. It was like just big scrolls.
Yeah, scrolls.
I didn't really like it, but I actually like it without the scrolls because it's just like this nice big... I've got a lot of guns for sale cloak underneath, and it's...
I still haven't used any MTX in PoE 2 because I want to see the actual armor designs of the stuff that's out there. So I haven't used any MTX on the armor side of things yet, just because I do actually quite enjoy it. Plus, if you're, I think it's on PC too, but the zooming into your character when you're in the inventory, it's so cool. I want to see the original. I was looking at it just the other day. I was like, oh, that's so cool. This helmet actually matches the chest piece. Like, I don't know. I still want to see all their original designs before I throw MTX on top of it.
It's like the music too, right? Like you love the music, but then, you know, however long, how many ever gameplay hours down the road, at some point you turn off the music and you listen to your own. Same thing with music. Like MTX, right? It's like, I want to see what it looks like. And it's, you know, I'm going to put in a few hundred hours before I start using my own MTX. That's me anyway. So,
I do like the portals really cool. Though. You know what I'm using right now though as the portal device in my hideout for maps is there is a portal. I can't remember what it's called, but it only gives you one portal and the big circle thing rotates and then the next portal would pop up, but you only ever have one portal for your thing. And the reason I switched to that was from last league when they were like, you get one death. So I was like, well, screw you. I don't want to see all 6 entrances and not be allowed to use them. So I switched to just the single one. The new ones though look so cool. And that they have the built-in timer, they have the built-in like mob counter and stuff. Very cool.
You notice that they call them map devices still?
Yeah,
they just can't stop.
Get away from it. No.
Your waystone portals, they got to figure it out. Like they're called waystones. They're not. We don't have maps anymore. Like they've got to.
But we kind of do. They call the Atlas spots maps. Like that's what they're calling. Those are map locations.
Yeah, but you got terms are terms. Like you know, I can't say increased without being specific in Path of Exile or more. Hey, I'd like more damage. Well, do you though? Because you don't have a lot of increased damage for your more damage. But yeah, the map devices themselves look really, really cool. And I love the pets. The pets seem really cool too.
The only one I remember is the beetle. I don't remember what other pets they had.
They had a few really cool ones. I also forget them right now too, but I remember being like, oh, I want them all. There was one boss portal, the big skeleton map device that they have. That's a boss that you fight in Act 2.
Annoying.
I hate the boss fight. Absolutely hate the boss fight. There's the collision detection, I guess, is accurate, but there's just too much to collide on that my screen's constantly like, oh, I get so nauseous, so I have to do that fight on the outside. But I really hope the map device doesn't have the same collision detection.
Like it matters.
That's the first thing I thought of. I saw all those arms around the outside, and I'm like,
can you imagine if it moves you?
Oh,
I can't imagine it does.
But another one of those good changes that
I got to give you a little bit of Vindication as well into your other comments you made in the past. I have played quite a bit, and I don't know if it just happens to be skills that I used last league versus skills that I used this league, but there are 2 bosses. He's one of them. And the other one is the one in the Titans area, Valley of the Titans. I love the entrance of that boss. It's so Dark Soulsy where he comes out from the dark.
And you fight him. One where you're underground, you're on the stone platform, and he walks up and you're fighting around his navel.
Their collision detection for certain skills is awful. I've not noticed it before because maybe the skills or attacks I was using, but I used okay, so I'm using...
And they've improved that stone boss twice already.
Well, for the skeleton one, I was using Stormlance with my Huntress. It wouldn't... It's like my character didn't know he was there. It wouldn't throw it at him. It was so hard to actually fight that boss. And then when I was doing my Witch, doing the Valley of the Titans one, I'm using snipers and I'm trying to throw down the gas bomb. Now, it is hitting him and doing damage, but it's firing off the screen, first off, okay? So it's not it's dropping down below the ground. But then also I'm using Contagion and Essence Drain. Essence Drain won't target him. I can't, like, I literally have to move my character, pointer to the right, and then not touch it. Don't touch the controller, and then just hit the button. And then when he does something to move, I have to like, it's so weird. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
But you know what? Sometimes it is with that big stone boss. It still goes invulnerable at times when it's supposed to be able to be damaged.
Yeah,
like
I never
all of
had
a sudden
that,
it stops taking damage. But I've had it in this playthrough as well, this past playthrough, where, and because I'm using minions, and one thing that I really like, which is unlike in Path of Exile 1, but in Path of Exile 2, when a boss is invulnerable, they don't bother with it. And so I'll be casting, and I'm like, why, what's going on? Why isn't despair? And then I see all my skeletal warriors just start standing there, and he's doing his stuff. It's not like an animation where nothing's supposed to happen. And so sometimes it lasts for the rest of the fight. Sometimes it only lasts for 5 seconds. And so, weird. But if that's happening with other bosses, you could be like, all of a sudden it's like the boss turns off. And so that's where you start like casting into nowhere, or it's not properly aiming. So maybe it is with other bosses too, but it really stands out. Like that boss in the underground is still so unbelievably glitchy.
Yeah, I didn't have an issue besides the targeting for Essence Drain was stupid, and it made me so mad that I had to just like not touch the controller. And then the other guy with Stormlands, it was very, very difficult to fight the boss because I couldn't actually get the damage on the boss. I was watching too because I was using Sniper's Mark to curse him, and watching where it randomly decided to put Sniper's Mark was on a hand. Like a random hand would get the curse. And I was like, what am I attacking? Just that? I don't understand. What am I?
Yeah.
I don't get what I'm attacking.
And the curses cost a lot. I don't know if marks are different than the hexes, but yeah, I use Enfeeble with Decaying Hex and Impending Doom. I love that for the clear at the beginning.
I think it's Inspiration. I had to run on it for the 20% reduction because it's expensive.
And when the game, like when you're doing it right, but the game misses the cast. So like I'll cast Enfeeble, and for some reason, because of whatever glitches are in the boss fight, it doesn't take, or it casts it on the ground, and it's like, God, I don't have much mana left to do this again. Like I can't fight this problem. I get screwed. So anyway, though, it's still with a lot of the other changes that they've made. I mean, those are bugs that eventually get fixed, right? It's just frustrating for today, but it's not like that's how the finished product, I mean, better not be, how the finished product is going to be released. It's just part of early access woes, and bugs are the easiest things to deal with. Design choices you disagree with are always a lot more difficult to swallow, and GGG, whether they're going in the direction that a listener is wanting or not, I have been unbelievably impressed with what they're willing to change. Not just
you could see it with the e-patch for changing. Sure.
Yeah, definitely with the e-patch, but not even just with the stuff they're changing today, but the things that they're considering for the future as well. Like, I'm really curious where Path of Exile 2 is today compared to what Jonathan originally wanted it to be.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea.
Of course. I'm just curious, like, if we ever have him on the show, that would easily be one of the questions that I ask him is, hey, like, where is the game compared to where you envisioned it? And are you happy with the current state of it? Are you bending everything for the consumer? Like, what's going on? So,
well, I mean, they're in a weird spot, but like the E patch specifically was one where I was like, this is Ty's patch. This is them finally doing something to the axe. Like, and it was a massive, massive overhaul of the axe and the campaign process. And I've already noticed it on my witch. Like, it's more enjoyable right now to run through the campaign. And that was the reason I started the witch, because I was like, well, they made these changes to campaign. I wasn't going to make another character. I thought I'd just stick with the huntress for the whole league because I didn't want to do the campaign again. But
sure,
these changes,
changes really spark curiosity to the experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of why we're playing, is to experience the changes. So I'm good for you though for bailing on the huntress.
I still like the huntress, but I wanted to try a lich.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. There were two things before we get into the actual patches. There were two things I wanted to say. One, I bought 2 tracking scrolls. Their new MTX. Their new MTX that they have. They have 4 of them, and you can apply them to your character. I want them to show up in the character screen. I don't want them to stay in the cosmetic screen. but they're like the pilfering ring or the pediatric, what? Not pediatric, pedometer ring. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, there's too many peds. Pedometer ring where they like count stats for you.
Oh, cool.
And so the two that there's 4 of them. One is how many pinnacle bosses and how many times you've killed each pinnacle boss. So out of the 4, there's one how many uniques you've picked up. And so I didn't get either of those yet. I'll get the pinnacle one later. I'll never care about the unique one. But then there's how much gold you've picked up. And I'm like, oh, that's fun. So I got that one. And then there was one for, I forget. Is it currency?
I don't know. You said something.
Oh no,
that
monsters
made it sound
killed.
like,
Monsters killed. And so, and it has the different rarities of monsters there.
You buy the scroll,
you just
and
basically, like you would an MTX, you apply it to your character, right? You say, I want to use it for this character instead of a different character. And then it just starts counting.
Where does it show?
So currently it's only in the cosmetic screen.
So when your cosmetic screen has it on that screen somewhere, it shows you that info?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Cool. So it's not something it's odd. I do hope they change it, but you know where it'll show, and they have 4 tabs now for controller support for the MTX screen.
UI for controller, with MTX.
Yeah, and it looks phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And I wish listed stuff, and they have a cart in their store in game.
Oh, cool.
I went to go buy these things in game because that's right. The MTX are not available to view on the Path of Exile 2 website.
Obviously.
So anyway, I don't like, people were pumping websites in the 70s, you know, where's your website? Where's your website? No, not the 70s, but still. Anyway, so I go in game, I find the MTX really easy, and there's options to add it to the cart. I can check stuff out. Like the in-game system is awesome. And you can see your wish list in-game too. So it's super easy to check up on things. It's phenomenal. I absolutely love it. So anyway, but I bought the 2, and they're currently, so you know where you have your MTX and you have your portals and your chest armor and all footprints and all that kind of stuff. It's not
one of the options is scrolls, or like, what is it?
Well, so, and then under that, there's all the lists of MTX categorized by back attachments, footprints, stuff like that. The very top one is, I don't know, fancy pants things. And that's where it is. So it's not even in the main display. So it's under there. And so it's really out of the way, but I don't buy those things to go out of my way to look for them. It's like,
but the stats don't require you to go out of the way to see the stats, do they? Or do you actually have to go?
You have to go and hover that MTX in the MTX screen to see it. There's no other place for it. Currently, as far as I could see. Yeah, and I'm sure they will. But I immediately bought those 2. So that was cool. Cool. Love that they just add that instead of making it like a 15. There. Yeah, and they were 100 points. 80 points for one, 120 for another. So yeah, and it's not like it was like a $15 ring MTX, right? So I love that. Another thing, and so this episode, you've hinted at it already, but goodness me, do I have a list of Vindication? There's so many things that were my criticisms for the first 3 months of gameplay, direction, experience. So many things that I was criticized for by so many people that listened. Some quit on us, some still listen. So many of those things were addressed. This episode is just pure vindication for Tyler. And one of those things is that I love that people, prior to the e-patch, people were sucking. And I loved it because all those, like, I was criticized for not playing the way that GGG wanted, even though I just ended up playing a class or skills that weren't strong at the time, right? And all of that has been changed. But I remember saying, a few months ago, like, just wait, like all of these like really strong ways to play, they're all going to get nerfed. And I mean, everybody that knows early access knows that that's going to happen. It's all going to get nerfed. And then you guys are going to have to play the way that I've been playing with skills that maybe are strong, maybe you're not strong. And, like you're going to have to fight through the enemies with not overpowered skills. And now the community's like blowing up and like, oh, this sucks, this and that. And, like all the review, they're getting review bomb GGG and all this kind of stuff.
They?
And yeah, like their review score on Steam is like, what are they calling it? In the red now. Oh, people are being babies about early access.
I didn't find I found it harder, but I didn't find it like I don't know.
But you get so many people that just expect that overpowering experience or forget
that's not
that
a
early
fun
access is
experience,
early access. Well,
I don't get the idea
for
of
many,
wanting to
sure.
I want to be strong.
Agreed.
I do want to feel like I'm getting power. I definitely hit walls for sure.
Sure. And I'm generalizing, of course, but that was a lot of the criticism that I was facing. And because I wasn't being successful, I was criticized for not playing GGG's way when I was. But now that all those overpowered things have been cut down, and of course now there's new overpowered ways, but there's now more people in my boat needing to go through the vanilla experience. It's a league start again, so a lot of people aren't going to do like a league start experience every time they restart a character. So now the new league comes up and there's a lot more people in my boat again. The amount of I just feel like yeah, welcome. It wasn't me, okay? It wasn't me, jerks. But anyway,
well, they definitely made it harder in 0.2 at the beginning.
Yeah.
They definitely, and playing the Huntress was for me fun to try and find a way. That's why I wanted to do the new character, because I knew nothing about it. I actually had quite a bit of fun just trying to find a way to make bleed work. I just had it in my head that I'm not playing bleed anymore on the Huntress, but I was like, this is fun. I want to try this out. And it was tough. It was way harder this patch.
And my comment, like criticizing is just like in terms of people's attitudes towards me. Like, I love that experience too. And I know it's going to change. And not just because, I know the game is going to change and I know the game is going to improve. That doesn't mean I was enjoying the experience, but now it's like there's a lot more people in my boat. And now that there's a lot more people in my boat, look at all the changes that are happening. It's awesome. It's great. So these league launches,
crazy.
Yeah, so these league launches, I value them and I'm very happy for them, because that means the whole community has to start off with that new player fresh. I have nothing to help my leveling experience out, and so much has changed. But let's get into it. I mean, we're already at the 40-minute mark and we've barely even talked about it.
Well, are you wanting to go patch by patch, or do you just want to talk general, or like?
Well, I have a list. I don't have my specific notes aren't patch by patch. I have a lot of the changes that I really liked, which is a long list. But then I also have a separate tab of pure Vindication points, specific changes that were things that I complained about prior to 0.2 and stuff that is now obviously.
My list is probably a lot smaller than yours then.
Let's do it.
I want to talk about just our characters first off. I want to talk about the Huntress. I'm playing the Huntress. I'm playing with some of the new supports. They came out with a support called Volt. It is so fun. It just
a support called Volt.
It's called Volt, and it amplifies my lightning damage for my lightning spear or something, whatever the one I'm using. But it's just based on moving. The more steps you take, and the reason I like it so much. First off, it helps the damage a lot. Like you move and it. Oh, is my thing frozen? Yep. Cool camera. Thanks. I could unplug it and replug it in. Do you want me to do that so you can still see me? Okay, give me 1 sec. Pause. With a passion, I hate this Elgato fucking device on my computer. I don't know what its problem is, but the freezing is driving me crazy.
You just need bigger GBs, bigger GBs.
Yeah, seriously. Anyway, you run around, it builds up to 30 stacks, and then it applies to your next skill. And it's very cool. But the reason I like it is it's called Volt, and I just imagine shuffling your feet on the carpet. And I know it's so dumb, but that's how I think of it. That's why I like it. That's my main reason for liking it.
So you're like scooting around in your slippers with your Huntress in the middle of the jungle.
Yep. Your hair starts to stand up and you're like ready.
Giggling right as you start like stacking up. You're like, oh, this next monster's going to get it.
I don't know why, but that's why I like it.
Awesome.
I played with the Roa, where you can mount the Roa.
All right. And did the Roa like being mounted?
Yeah, the Roa loves being mounted. The coolest part about it is there's no stutter when you cast or attack. So like,
so you're not even slowed down with attack or movement or cast speed.
And so it actually threw me off when I got thrown off the Roa, because now I was back to the stuttering when like you're moving and then you're casting or you're attacking. So I do really like it for that. It was still figuring out if I like how I fit it in, but they changed Atlas progression, which I know you haven't done yet, but how you progress the Atlas points. Not sure if I like it yet. It used to suck. It was like do 15 tier 1s, then do 15 tier 2s, then do 15 tier 3s. Like that was boring. to get your points. Right now you have to find the corruption on the map and then do this nexus in there, which is a cool idea, except that it's not always easy to know where the next corruption is going to be. So I still find Atlas progression slow, and I miss PoE 1's Atlas progression. There was something about PoE 1 where you knew when you completed this map, you're getting a point and you get to start building it. I don't have that same feeling in PoE 2. So I do miss that quite a bit. And then I got to do one of the new boss rush map things. It's a unique that you have to do on a tier 11 or higher that you'll randomly find on the Atlas. So I was like, oh, cool. I'm ready for a tier 11. I got my first tier 11, went to go do it. Dude, it was brutal. You
should have brought some lube.
Thank God you have more attempts now at the map. Not that I died, obviously.
No,
but
who does that?
You go through this map and you clear it and you find these runes across the map. There's 5 of them. And when you hit them, it fires this like laser into the middle. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I wonder what's happening. So I go around.
Let's go look at this.
I go around, do all 5. Yeah. And I go into the middle and there's like 8 runes. It's like Stonehenge. And there's this big thing in the middle. And first off, there's no clear direction as to what to do. I'm walking around these runes going like, do I fight something? There's like lightning coming down from the ground, from the sky. I don't know if I'm getting hurt. It doesn't look like it's hurting me. You go and stand on this little center rune and all of a sudden it took me a little bit of a handicap moment to figure out you needed to stand on the circle for a long time. So I go stand because all of a sudden more lightning, more fire. I'm like, okay, something's happening. And then all of a sudden fucking like beam comes from the sky and it's a boss. And I think I fought like 9 bosses from the axe. And it's just one after the other. It was insane. It was so freaking hard. It was a very cool idea, but I was not ready for a tier 11 at that point.
Now, I actually have a question for you in that regard, because I love that. Bosses I just love it. Like, I wish that, what was the Build-A-Bear called in Path of Exile 1, where you build your bosses and they would spawn in maps?
The green one.
Anyway, I know I love that because I love the uniques, and that's why I love like the rogue exiles. I love bosses. The more that you can add, so that's something that really interests me. But flask management in this game is unique because it's all based on kill, and
except if you get one roll that gives you like 0.25 per second charges per second, that's one of the suffixes you can get. But otherwise, yes. So
and a lot of bosses don't seem to revolve around the aspect of whether you get ads or not, like the cool, and maybe that's just stuff that they're expecting to tweak over time. But there are some bosses where it's like, okay, I'm not worried about my flask situation with my lack of gear, and then there's other situations where it's like almost like Dark Souls, where it's like, I'm pissed if I use a flask because like if I need flasks in this fight, I'm going to be screwed because I'm going to be empty. So what was flask management like in this fight?
I lost 2 of my portals just to running out of flasks and trying to run around on the row.
Right, I forgot you can do that now.
Trying to throw stuff on them. And also the only thing I couldn't tell, but I don't think it did, I felt like it should count as a checkpoint every time you kill the boss, like refresh my flasks.
When you die and you come back in, you have to do all of them.
No, you don't. Oh, actually, when you die and come back in, the boss stays exactly at the same health it was at. So you're continuing the fight, which is good, thankfully, because it would have been hard.
But I haven't done a lot of that, like I haven't done any non-campaign stuff. So all the changes they've made to how boss fights works and retries, it's all muddled together because I don't have the experience with it yet.
Campaign, the boss resets its health, like you start over. But in this map, it didn't. It kept where the health was. But the sustain, I should have gone in there with differently rolled flasks so that they were gaining a charge per second, because it was very, very difficult to go through like 9 bosses in a row without, it was hard to manage my flask. But very cool idea. It was very tough. And yeah, it was like, I think there were 8 or 9 of the act bosses that I fought, like that you fight through the campaign, were in there. And some of them were like, I was like, oh God, this is going to be rough, but very fun.
Good. I'm glad it was. And so that's all with your Huntress.
That was all Huntress.
And then are you kind of a dick where you have started a Lich and you're already level 8,000 and...
No, I'm almost finished Act 2. I've ascended. I wanted to get the Ascension for the Lich, so I did Ascending. Ascending becomes a lot easier as you play more on a main character because you get the
If you have more relics, yeah.
Yeah, the right relics. And so as long as I have 2 relics, between those 2 relics gives me 74% resistance. So that makes it a way easier. I have to say though, it probably wasn't a good idea to do it late at night. I was doing my ascension last night, trying to just like get it done. And I was on the second to last or the last room before the boss. And I go into this area and I'm feeling good about myself. I'm doing essence drain contagion, and I've got my sniper minions, and I run into the zone, and there's this like big rare spider boss, like spider, that I'm running past, and I'm like, man, this guy's actually pretty tanky. And I'm like, I want to kill him. I want to finish this guy off. So I fight him. He took me a little bit longer than normal. And like, as he died, I realized what I was doing. And it was one of those rooms where you have to like hit the crystals. And this was a boss right off the bat. And all of a sudden, just like, boom, you failed. I'm like, son of a bitch. I totally forgot that I was supposed to get the crystals. So I redid it.
I don't even fight enemies in the crystal ones.
I just forgot I was in a crystal one. Yeah. I just saw the spider. I was like, I got you. I'm going to kill you. And I did kill him.
Son of a bee. Get out of here. This is my cave.
It was not worth it. But.
So last week, when I started my first lich, right after the 0.2 patch, I ascended.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the first time that I had attempted trials or ascension since they changed ascending
a while ago,
like months ago.
Yep.
Which was their original
early
change after. Yeah, and
mm-hmm.
I still hate the roguelike experience. I that's not a genre that interests me, and I don't play this game for the sake of having a variety of genres to play. So I don't enjoy traps. I don't enjoy, sometimes the combat helps, sometimes it doesn't. I don't enjoy the pointlessness of my life flasks and dealing with random, negative
Honor's
mods,
the worst
but also, but then also I don't actually I don't care for the random boosts. Yes, they help me. I just want my character to do the content. Those are old criticisms and irrelevant. I still found it so much easier to tolerate, about the same level as not liking labs and trials in the first game, but whatever. I don't like it. It sucks. I'm not going to. I'm going to do this as little as possible, and it might even hinder me from leveling new characters. But on my first playthrough, I'm like, whatever, and I was able to do it on wasn't my first try. I did the boss. I got to the boss. It was the second time I did the boss that I did it.
So you did it probably
like
lich?
My 7th try. The first time around I did, But it's because my first time I died to the boss, it was because I was unfamiliar with the boss. I unlock the boss, it crawls out of the stone, and it does this big AoE.
Massive explosion.
3 in a row, and I'm like, oh, I'm dead. I got hit by all 3 waves.
She's like, watch out for the explosion. It's massive. It is so big.
Yeah, it is. And it's not really a fair, conducive experience to like your first character going in, and it's like you've done your best to save this honor. It's like you can only know what to look out for if you're already experienced in the fight. Mm-hmm. And it sucks to have to die from that, and you've already gone through the whole floor. Yeah, it really shouldn't start off like that. That being said, it's not a fun fight. I don't like all the different AoE that there is with it, but it's easy enough to cheese so that it's
once you learn
fine. And I love the keys as well that's there at the end and how the progress works. But either way, it was, my whole point is that I appreciate how much easier it is from the last time that I did it.
What did you take as your first ascension for your lich?
I am going with the chaos damage first, and then I'm going to go with the curse stuff second. Because for me, how I'm you're going on the right side?
The right side. Tell me why though.
Okay, well, just because with me, what I'm doing, I am doing curses and minions, which is exactly what I wanted to do with my, pre 0.2 builds as well.
7 sorceresses.
That's exactly it. Though I do really like the chronomancer changes they made to the ascendancy and where nodes unlock.
Their sorceress changes actually look great. I'm really kind of curious to know how much better it is to level.
For sure. Yeah, I am really curious about that because I'm not going to be doing the sorceress.
No, me either.
Maybe because of that 20% slow aura that they have, but it would be a completely different build because the lich just suits what I'm trying to do so well. But what I'm doing is I'm focusing on all my minion nodes first on the tree, and then I'm going to be doing my curse nodes second. So that's all curse efficiency, duration, AoE, having that third curse, because the Lich will give me a second one too. So I'm doing all of that last. So I'm focusing all on my minion survivability first. And then as a result, when I'm ascending, I'm focusing on the minion ascension part first, which is the unholy might and mana levels. And I also really wanted to see, it was very important for me to understand how when it says you lose 5% of life or mana per second, I really wanted to see what that was like.
Did you take that one? That's not first, right? You can't take that.
That's the first one.
That's way too early to be able to take that one.
It is, but I want to see what that's like, because
I think
that's
you can
still
do
good
it,
damage.
Because I think I'm probably going to go that route later, but not until I'm further into the tree to get more mana regen and mana recovery. Yeah. I think it's way too early. I went the other route and went health. The health route where you your mana, you don't have any mana regen, and your mana regen is based off of was it percentage
6% of your maximum life.
Yeah. So what I did though was I ascended, right? So I take this ascension. Then I went to my hideout and I went and looked at like, what's my mana regen right now? Because I have gold, so respecking is not a problem, just because I've already played the main character. So I have lots of gold. So I was like, well, I'm going to try it. I want to see what this it was a 50% increase in my mana regen by taking that node. My mana regen was actually 50% higher by dropping my mana regen and now just focusing on life. So and I'm only early. It's like level 20. I think I did it at 22. So it was good.
And so, but are you finding it enough that you can completely ignore your mana flask? Do you think it's that strong?
Probably not yet. I think I'm too early because I haven't taken any mana nodes as I've been going through I'm going all chaos. I took the part on the right for the minions just for the faster respawning. Although with the new change in E, it's even better for how minions respawn now. But I took some life and their respawn, but the rest I focused on chaos damage because I loved Essence Ring Contagion in PoE 1, and I was asking in chat, I was like, does it seem like it's working? And people said that it was pretty good, and I wanted to do Lich anyway, so yeah.
That's interesting to me because I am eventually going to be running 3 curses, casting 3 curses.
You're going to cast them all, no blasphemy or anything?
No, not blasphemy. I don't like blasphemy. It costs too much spirit for the amount of the reduction that blasphemy does on curses. I'm going to be doing it with cast on minion death, and 2 of them anyway, and then I'll be self-casting despair. But I still have to see how it's going to play out. Like I have the idea in my head, but I have to see how it actually plays. But that's still that's a lot of mana, and if that on the right side of the Lich, that 6% of maximum life is worth the regen, then maybe it's worth foregoing the extra chaos damage for my minions on the other side instead. Because then, sure, I'd be weaker offensively, but I'd be a much stronger defensively, because then I'd have the tree with the curse with the curse focus, and then I would have the tree with my survivability. And so that's what I'm really excited about this go around, right? There's those 2 really good options, but I am going with the damage first because I really wanted to see how detrimental, once I have 3 curses unlocking with the cycle that I'm hoping to have in my, 2-button style build. I really want to see how much mana and mana recovery
you'll have to be pretty heavy into the tree with some mana regen before, because taking 3, I don't know how soon, if you rush straight to that plus the ascension, I feel like you'd run out of mana pretty quick.
That's what we're going to find out. Yeah. I'm curious because there is a lot of mana regen that just shows up all over the place on items. It could just be at the beginning of the game, but
and all the new
mana
runes
regens
too.
Everywhere.
They've added so many new runes now, which is really cool, except there's no rune tab. There are more runes than there are currency now. It's insane. And there's nowhere to put them.
It is odd because that's one thing I'm really curious about. Maybe that'll be great, right? Nobody wants 1,000 items on the ground, but if you want your items to matter, every item needs to be decent. But
they
like
changed
how
that
many
too
items
with runes? So like,
yes, they did. So
as you get higher up, they stop
it's
dropping.
that combo. Like now runes are available in basically everything, right? I mean, scepters and wands can have it now, which is really
can't
cool.
wait for that.
So, right. And then they're going to have their specific mods as well for it. So it's one of those things where maybe it just takes getting used to this new rune experience. You can't take the runes out and save them, but you
can replace
when
them
you
now.
have the expectation that you're just going to keep getting more. So, okay, this is a sweetly rolled rune. This is going to help me out with my resistances in the meantime.
It's kind of like the crafting. It's there for me. It's a decent replacement to the crafting table, especially now that they've dropped ones that drop stats and they've got all the resists and the scaling resist. To me, it's like, it's not the crafting table that we used to have where you could just throw a resist on, but it is way easier now to work with my resists with the rune system. And they fixed like how many, what is the Artificer Orb or the thing to put rune slots on. Thank God they added more of those, because I think I had 2 drop in the whole campaign when I played my first character through.
Yeah.
And now they've added them as actual drops and actual locations for them. So within the campaign, so cool.
Yeah, it is. And so sure, there might be a lot of criticisms to it, but it takes time to try a new product, a new cycle, a new system. And maybe it's worthwhile. Like the last thing I want is a loot system like Path of Exile 1. Sure, and at the end of the day, that loot system is more efficient, but we're also just used to tolerating how horrible it was. You know what I mean? And with our own filters and everything like that, like the lack of loot during the campaign, the lack of quantity is great. The lack of value really sucks. Like everybody still says, like your good items only come from vendors because you get to spend your money when you want to.
My witch is the first time I ever did that. I didn't even do that with the huntress. I never looked at the vendor. I went to the vendor with my witch and I got a scepter that had 15% increased spirit and +1 to minions. I was like, well, shit, I should be checking this friggin' vendor more often.
And the sucky thing, especially with the scepters, if you're using the skeletal warriors, is the level really matters, because the spirit cost as you level up that innate gem, so to speak, is so valuable. Like it's such a big decrease that by the time
you
hit,
use more of them, because they're free for the first 2. Do you actually add more of those skeletal?
Yeah, I do.
I don't use those. Okay.
I use them as tanks, like, hey, just focus on this. Now, actually, this is going to be feedback. I don't know if it's a bug or not, but I feel like every boss does not give 2 craps about my minions. It's always just me. And then the only time my minions take damage is because of incidental damage that's coming towards me, or the boss is physically blocked by my minions' collision detection. But I feel like I always have the aggro.
I feel like I more often have the aggro, but I have seen them aggro the mobs, but nothing. I definitely have it 95% of the time.
Yeah. So for me right now, as I'm leveling, and there's other minions, but I enjoy, and I'm trying a lot of different things, and I'm appreciating the new experience that keeps changing in the campaign. But I'm finding with me using Enfeeble with Decaying Hex and Impending Doom, that's decent. It's great for clear. It's slow for bosses, but it's still, I'm fine to learn the boss experience as they're changing bosses and changing cooldowns and all this stuff. So I'm finding that just having a crap load of skeletal warriors is great. And then I throw on minion instability for when they die, and they're going to do decent damage. Like there's still some stupid stuff, like zombies are still in a really dumb state because the amount of work they take,
them. Too much
and
work.
they still have less innate health than a skeletal warrior.
Yeah,
so I may as well use a skeletal warrior. It's bloody easy,
especially for the
right?
cost. They're so expensive.
Yeah, and it's been really fun for me comparing the spirit costs as I go up through the campaign as different gems, because you get these spirit gems and there's not a lot of options for active skills, especially for minion players. You go up, it's like, okay, maybe 1, maybe 2. It's like, well, level 6, that gets me nothing. So I'm leveling all the minions that I'm not using, and I'm comparing their different stats. And a lot of times it's like, okay, well, I can have 2 sniper skeletons, or I could have 7 skeletal warriors. Okay, let's get those explosions going.
At a certain point, they drop off pretty good, but then you hit where it just stops.
And so one thing I'm really curious about, which I haven't had the opportunity to try it, is once I get to, the middle of Act 2, end of Act 2, when I can have, 6, 7, 8, 9 skeletal warriors. Now that the skeleton respawning is a little bit different, which another point of vindication for Tyler. I'm really curious to see how minion instability, how much more valuable that is as opposed to just small bonus damage. I'm curious if it's actually viable or if it'll help me progress a little bit faster. Hard to test because, of course, there's a lot of other monster changes as well and density changes. But
you also have to stop restarting. I know
It's
you've
my
only done it
first
once.
one.
I know. I'm
It's
just
my
giving you a hard
first
time.
one.
It was so funny last night. I was like, oh God.
Yeah, at least I'm numbering them, so I'm keeping myself accountable with the community.
I saw somebody asking you, like, what is your naming? I never saw if you answered them.
No,
somebody asked you, and we should just say, if you're not on our Discord, pop in there and say hi. But also, Global 2121 is what we use in game. I saw somebody asking you what the naming mechanic was behind it, but I never saw if you answered because I was
a lot of the times I'm not even at the screen. Like I'm dealing with my kids or I'm off, and I
also I'm fighting. Sometimes I just don't see it.
You know what? I could make this so that the chat box is like in my way while I'm fighting. It's like over half the screen. Yeah, you can control the width of the chat box and the height. And what's really cool is you didn't need to bug report it, which was nice. I have my whole HUD on the left-hand side because your minion count with controller support is on the left, right? And you can't change that, which is too bad. So because I can't change that, I have my whole HUD on the left as well. So all my skills, my mana and life, it's all hucked on the left like I'm doing co-op. And then it kind of like frees up the top right or top left and bottom right corner. And so then I have like all my quest and map stuff on the right and all my character stuff on the left. And I kind of like, it's really easy for my brain to be like, check that out. Yeah. What were we talking about?
I don't know. I was just gonna say I was too busy leveling to play with the
right. And so the chat box though, depending on how you organize your HUD, it doesn't overlap with anything that you're doing, which I quite like. But even when I have the text going over past the center of the screen, so it's literally in front of my combat experience, I still don't read it. I still can't. 100%. It's not because I'm refusing to. It's like,
no, I just don't see it.
I'm busy, and then I like get frustrated with this mod, or I love this loot, or I'm like, oh shoot, I gotta go sell.
And you're in your inventory, and you forget about it. But you were just talking about the HUD stuff. I have to say, the ability now on controller support to move the minimap, I found that by accident.
Oh, really?
Oh, I love it. I found it completely by accident.
For reading it in the patch notes when I saw that.
I didn't read the patch notes. I should have
shared it with you.
Yeah, if you had told me, when there was a thing that popped up at the top right and it said like hold down on the D-pad to see something. So I held down, but I must have been moving something at the same time, and all of a sudden the map moved. I was like, what? You can move the mini map? Right? And that sounds stupid because I played PC. I get it. For PC people listening, they're probably like, what are you talking about? You couldn't do it on controller. It drove me bananas. Because you couldn't do anything. You couldn't zoom out, nothing.
Path of Exile 1 controller support players are in heaven right now.
Yeah,
like the amount, it's just, this is so amazing that GGG is treating console and just controller with just pure equality to the entire system.
I asked in Discord, there's a thing that they said was coming out with regards to leveling up skills, and that they were going to make it now where it showed the equipped skills for upgrade. And I was like, what are you guys talking about? Like, just go to the upgrade screen. I did not know that didn't exist for keyboard and mouse. On controller, when I go to hit like a level 7 uncut skill gem, when I hit it, if I just hit LB, it goes to the upgrade screen and it just shows me all of my active ones to upgrade. I had no idea that wasn't a thing for PC. Losers. I hate saying that there's such a better thing to controller, but the fact is,
oh man,
I can't go back to keyboard and mouse.
If you do the auto leveling gems in Path of Exile 1, that was enough. Enough.
You can't do auto leveling in this game, but just the upgrade screen, I had no clue that PC or keyboard and mouse people didn't have that.
Yeah.
Hold on, I got to bring up one thing that's related to keyboard and mouse and controller. And I don't think that you'll get this because you haven't gotten to. Have you gotten to mapping?
Never. Once. Yeah, I did a few maps.
Okay.
Midway through last season.
Okay, so you understand this. You get some items. You pick up some unidentified items, right? You go talk to the hooded one. You hit X, right? X is what identifies them all. Then you go to Luna, let's say, and you hit Y to disenchant them. And you go through the whole campaign like that. X to the hooded one, Y to the disenchanting one. The whole campaign goes through that way. Then
why do you identify and before you disenchant, you get the same? Because
I want to see them.
Oh,
just so I can see them. Maybe I'll use them. I'm not going to disenchant. I'm not going to disenchant a pair of boots without knowing what's on them, right?
Oh,
So
sure. Okay. I guess we just have different, like when I'm mapping, I'm IDing what interests me.
as you go.
And then
I don't.
Yeah, but there's so little that interests me, right? Like I
just
want
pick it
energy
all
shield
up,
for everything.
and then I go and identify it when I'm back in town. So X and Y, always. That's how you go through the whole campaign. Then you get to mapping. And now when you go to talk to Doriani, who's the person who identifies, they've changed the button to Y. So now I go to talk to Doriani and have hit Y to identify, and then I go talk to the dude to disenchant them. It is the dumbest. Like, why? I'm being a baby on this one, but
you're not.
I'm like,
consistency has value.
It kills me, man.
It's
when
like
I go back to start a new
1.
character, I'm like, ugh, I got to get this again. I forget all the time.
Yeah, no, consistency is very important to the quality of life experience for a user. Like when you look at F1, for me on controller, I hit X to edit my setup. Mm-hmm. On the next screen, X is advance. Well, that's like do or die. That starts a 30-second timer for people when we should be wanting 5 minutes. Like it needs to be completely different. No, that's not being a baby.
It throws me off,
that's
man. I don't know why why it's not consistent, why it's not the same thing, but I feel like somebody's just missed that or hasn't played through with controller through that. But I don't know, man. It's really silly, but I put that in my notes because I wanted to bring it up. Have you done the wisps yet? Where you follow the wisp?
Yes, I've completed a couple.
They are not good. I hope that
the rewards aren't worthwhile.
No,
like I still do them thinking that maybe I just have bad RNG, but I'm so far the ones that I've completed, I'm like, why did I do this? I'd rather just like hug the right like I normally do because I didn't get anything from this.
In mapping,
and sometimes the mod combos,
it's tough.
Are like, wow, already? Okay. And then, you do it. So, okay, maybe, maybe the mods aren't that bad. It just seems so aggressive, but like the fight goes,
think you're going to get rewarded.
And then it's like,
then you get gold.
Yeah.
I hate it. It drove me crazy. I was like, come on.
I'm sure that'll change. I'm sure.
I'm sure they just, it's probably better that they brought it in light versus bringing it in heavy. But I was excited when the wisps were coming because I remember Wildwood. That was like, awesome. But now I'm following around these rares, going through a big fight. I did them in mapping for a while, and you would hate them in mapping, especially because you like to stick to the right. These wisps are like, nah, we're going this way.
Yeah, that's right. I hate it when the wisps pass like an important part of the map, though.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I don't like this event's triggering right now.
Yeah.
I got to do this. Why aren't you stopping? Like pause like the delirium fog would or something, right? Mm-hmm. I'm sure that'll happen too. So
I tried to see, because Tame Beast is one of the Huntress skills, and it's pretty cool because you use it, you cast it on the rare, kill the rare within 8 seconds, and it becomes a companion. It's just like a normal minion, but it keeps up to 4 modifiers for that rare, which is super cool. Like you can get some really cool combos for that Tame Beast. It doesn't keep the Wisp. I tried it to see if it would keep the Wisps modifier. It didn't keep it, which is too bad.
Bastards.
Yep. It also didn't give me the aura. I tried one with haste that had the haste aura on it.
That must have been exciting and then really disappointing.
Yeah, it was. I was like going through my stats going like, what? How? I don't get anything from this thing. So I did capture one too that had the mana siphoner on it. That just scared me through the whole map. I didn't know if I was in the right mana siphoner or not. So
I wonder if there's something they could do visually to let you know if the same skill is via ally or via enemy. Like if there's a different type of like semi-translucent or a certain shade that they can use, gray something out maybe.
I don't need to see it. Like make it very opaque because I don't need to see it. It doesn't do anything to me.
As long as you can toggle it, I still haven't figured out how to be able to see what my presence is in game, which I thought I read that in the past. Yeah. So maybe it was coming and it didn't get at it, but I can't figure out how to find it because the presence by default was changed from 6 meters to 4 meters. And I'm still like, cool.
Is the notable on the tree now that increases presence? Is that new? Because I saw that when I was looking yesterday.
That was part of the addition when they also reduced the default presence aura.
Oh, okay.
Adding presence on the tree was new. It was when they changed like magnitudes and stuff too. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I have a lot of changes that I wanted to bring up.
Mhm.
And then I have a separate list, which has many of these changes in my Vindication post. Now, we're already running quite long here.
We are. How do you want to do it? Do you want to just start going through them?
Sure. I'm going to read through my Vindication post.
Okay.
Because I still feel like I need to be like...
Get it off your chest, Ty.
Yeah, and then that's it. Then the Vindication's done. So, one change that was made this week. So, remember, this Vindication is... People didn't like my attitude or my comments regarding the first 3 months and thought that maybe that was maybe the way the game was going to be, or I needed to get used to it. But my criticisms now, so many of these criticisms were touched on in the past, well, since point 2 has come out. So here's a list of some of the things that vindicate my previous criticisms. Not all of them, because some of them was bad attitude or being a baby, but probably not. So, improve the performance of summoning and reviving minions. Sweet. The decay debuff from decaying hex support, you can actually now see that the enemy's poisoned or taking a chaos debuff. Before you couldn't, so you're spending way more mana just to double check. And then, of course, that puts you in a tricky spot. I was a Chronomancer for a lot, and the Chronomancer now ascending is worthwhile. They revamped the Chrono nodes. And so now you actually have valid options right off the bat. Many skills have had their damage or damage growth per level completely rebalanced, and many of those skills were not even listed in the patch notes, despite the fact that they had quite an abundant patch notes. And I have gone back to look at the skills that I was looking at, and yes, they have changed. There were tons of nerfs, which was expected, but good. Nothing that I was playing got nerfed. Everything that I was playing got buffed, so that's good. Decaying Hex now causes supported skills to inflict decay for 100% of their damage, right? One of the skills that I was using, instead of 60%. Curse skills have greater AoE. Chaos Inoculation now actually makes you immune to bleeding. I remember that was a big part of my failure was how CI functioned at the time. They've completely changed now how minions... Well, not completely changed, but they've added some tweaks to how minions revive. And this one's really cool. This one's brand new. I've barely had a chance to play with it. It just came out last night or the night before. So when your first minion dies, the default timer is 7.5 seconds, just like before. But each successive minion that dies increases this less and less. So you're still capped at 7.5 seconds. But somehow, with however their math works, minions are supposed to be reviving quite often. So it's still the same timer, right? Like before, if I had one minion die, and then with only 1 second to go, if the other minion died, it went bloop, all the way back up to 7.5 seconds, and I had to wait 7.5 seconds again for both. Mm-hmm. So now that's going to be substantially different. Maybe, and I don't know what the math is, but let's say that one minion dies, 7.5 second timer starts, it goes down to 1 second, and then another minion dies, that gets bumped up to 3 seconds. Or 4 seconds. I don't know what it is. So excited for that, because that definitely put you in a lot of tricky situations, especially if you were playing more of the persistent minion style. Like if you were really focusing, I'm talking leveling, right? Like none of these are end game focus changes for me, right? There were multiple changes to monster life, monster defense, monster numbers. GGG even had posts in the e-patch about like players being overwhelmed with swarms, which monsters spawn and where. They swapped which monsters spawn and where, how many monsters were poisoning you, the size of AoEs, like even like in the manner, right? The size of those stupid blood pools, the length that they're on the ground, attack cooldowns, which monsters spawn and where, even monster behavior. Like that's all been touched on in the last 2 weeks. Awesome stuff. So some examples, of course, were lowering monster, even boss life. Unfortunately, after Act 1, but still, like, great.
Still because they made Gregory with his full life.
Like I said last week, they made some good changes to the Geonor Gregory fight. Yeah, to the Gregory fight. But even now, they've changed it. Count... Oh, there it is. Geonor, not Gregory. Gregory's abilities have had their cooldowns increased even more. So his attacks are, and I guess that was to do with the parrying, but still, it's a lot better.
On the Witch?
Not, with my first playthrough, but not with the second one. No.
Okay.
No, I am excited to go through that.
I did it last night.
And?
I was actually pretty good. The fight, I did it in the first shot, which was nice with minions.
Nice. Awesome. Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Interruption events. from monsters. Basically, GGG changed how fast it is how minions can track you down and just incessantly like attack. They'll like have to walk instead of run at you after they've done certain kinds of attacks or combos towards you. So that's really cool. I mean, how many times were we excited about this? I can't believe this one gives me more hope than all of the others. The haste aura modifier no longer appears on monsters that are already fast. That's global. That's not just leveling. But I really like that because that's them being specific about modifiers with certain base types. And that's when you're willing to have that attitude, so much more can change. And it gives you a lot more hope in terms of the feedback that you receive and the feedback that could possibly, change things. Whereas before it just felt like these are our random modifiers. These are our random monster bases. Good luck. Have a good time. Right. And sure, I guess maybe that matches the explode the screen experience for Path of Exile 1. But this really shows that despite the fact whether you like the gameplay currently of Path of Exile 2, this shows that they're still really trying to make combat meaningful in however meaningful it can be in an ARPG where you're trying to obliterate things. But that to me, that attitude, that stood out. That is huge to me. And of course, makes survivability a little bit easier, right? A lot less frustrating circumstances. Reduce the overall density of challenging monsters in the Ogham Manor. In the Valley of Titans, the density of monsters in this area has been adjusted. Fast enemies like the werewolf prowlers, tendrils. What does it say? Oh yeah, same thing as before. They enter a walking stance after performing a melee action instead of chasing you. And this has been applied everywhere. Like the amount of monsters they listed where they're going to be slower and they're not going to be able to pursue you as much like that. That was all over the place. Reduce the number of bloom serpents found in the Red Veil. Oh my goodness. The amount of times you walk into a situation, you have like 7 of those things and you're dead. Oh, especially like even in, where is it? The King of the Mist, the first time you meet the King of the Mist in that area. And you think you cleared the area before you start the fight. And then all of a sudden, partway through your fight,
some snipers
15 of these things
side.
start showing. Yeah, stupid things. Same thing with similar venomous crabs and their matriarchs and the hunting grounds. Same kind of thing. Those things were brutal. The blood cretins. Enemies like boars and chargers, they're more likely to push your character to the side instead of
talked about that last week.
Push your screen. Oh, okay. Because I thought that was a new change.
But my frustration with having no control over my character.
And but those are all things that are part of the experience that are like, oh shoot, that was really bad RNG and I'm willing to tolerate it and still have a good time when I restart versus, well, that was BS and that was BS and that was BS and now I have to restart. You know what I mean? Like all of this stuff really, really adds up. They massively adjusted the Azak Bog, right? With all of the changes, but including focusing on how many ranged and elite monsters there are. That was another thing where I was like, paying attention to how many rares are on the screen kind of thing, instead of being overwhelmed by 4 or 5 or 3, right? While I'm level 20, like that kind of stuff is a huge part of the experience.
Them fixing the layout of that one and other areas to me is a massive improvement. I'm really excited for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. I mean, we didn't even touch on how they're changing the actual area, the areas themselves, how many dead ends and open areas and ways to focus, where waypoints are. I specifically remember mentioning these guys. I didn't know that their name was called Slither Spitters, but not knowing if I was taking chaos damage or not from something that looked like it was supposed to be physical damage. I remember saying that for a couple of weeks. And right here it says this enemy's poison spray in the venom crypts was dealing chaos damage instead of physical damage unintentionally. It's changed. I love this one. I have yet to experience this one, but lowered the amount and size of chaos rains, the purple ones, in the Viper fight, and cleaned up the visual effects afterwards to make the following drop locations more obvious.
Yep. I am looking forward to that one too.
Yeah.
That's coming. I'm playing this witch for Act 3. I want to see what Act 3 is like.
Totally. The Xamal fight, I remember complaining about every time the guy went up and floated and you couldn't touch him, his energy shield would recharge. That doesn't happen anymore. Let's see, the Exclusion, I don't know, the Chimera fight. Way easier to see on the AoE, the stuff on the ground now. Wrathbreaker, the multiple versions of the Wrathbreaker that I have hated for forever, has had their damage reduced. Like so much, like very specific things that made my first 3 months very frustrating. Again, I remember I understood that it was early access and I was just waiting for a version that was a lot more fun, which 0.2 was like made for me. But like all this stuff now has been changed from then to now. And now I'm, despite the fact there's tons of bugs and a lot of things wrong and a lot of balance changes are coming, so much is going to change. It is so fun to go through this experience now and actually enjoy the frustrations and the progress and the process. Sorry, did I bump my mic?
No, you're good.
Okay. And so unfortunately for GGG, that also means I've made like 15 posts in the last 2 weeks. And I sent Justin a picture of my, I bookmark all of my posts that I make. I don't know why, but I do. And well, we're at the stage now where I have to scroll down to see them all.
There's a lot. I want to pose a question or a concern to you. Can you give me 30 seconds though?
Yeah, I'll run to the bathroom.
Good timing. Look at us.
Yeah, it is, right? We both washed our hands at the same time. But listeners, thank you for your patience. I wanted to get that off my chest. That's good. It's done. It's gone. And looking forward to the rest. So thank you for your patience. I'm sorry to ramble.
Okay. I want to pose. I don't know if it's just a comment or concern or what it is.
You don't.
I'm not trying to be like, I don't want it to come across as like negative or anything, because I'm extremely excited for all these changes and I think they're great changes. I think my concern, here's where my concern lies. I did watch the Ziz, Jonathan and Mark interview.
Sure.
And there are a massive amount of these changes that you're talking about that were talked about directly in that interview. And I think my concern comes from, is that what it takes? Like, is there a point to the bug reports that you do? Is there a point to the feedback people give? Now, I'm not saying all of them. And I know Mark brought up a few times that some of these things were on his list, but it did make me a little bit worried, excited, like super thrilled about the changes. But I'm going like, is that why? Like,
yeah. Should we be writing our bug reports to Ziz and Gazzy?
Yeah. Well,
instead of GGG, like our feedback, who should we, does Ziggy need, should we CC these three on who always
so that was my only concern is I don't want to, I hope like Mark was amazing in that interview. So was Jonathan. I mean, kudos to both of them for doing that in the middle of like a shitstorm that they were dealing with. And I thought they both handled it extremely well. I disagree with a lot of people on what their comments were with regards to Jonathan specifically. I thought they both did great, and Mark did say that a lot of these things were on his list, but it just all, when I read these patch notes and I'm super thrilled for them, I'm also going like, is this a result of that conversation or were these things that were already kind of coming anyway?
It's tough because we also kind of have an impression of how they test things. And it doesn't seem to be from a progressive state. It seems to be type in, here's my situation, here's my items. Okay, now let's try it out. You know what I mean? Like, but then you hear Mark saying, I think I heard like a couple clips and Mark was saying like, actually, I have a guy right now going through the campaign, telling us what's too big,
which was great.
You know, so then you get the impression that there's sometimes that assignment of forced playthrough, but you kind of wonder, like, when you have a game this big, obviously you have to choose your testing parameters and quality assurance at some point, but quality assurance, with the exception of when people go home and play on their own, quality assurance is where you get that feedback. And it's tough. Like, this is a huge game. I mean, how many people do you need in that department? Right. Yeah. But you do need progression people. You always need that.
I see. That's why I love Mark, because Mark was on my friends list in PoE 1. That dude was playing Path of Exile all the time. And so like that, I like that. I like knowing that the lead developer or whatever his role is there, like he actively plays the game. So stuff I don't think often comes up as a surprise to him. So whatever, I think that's awesome. I love that guy to death. I think he's so good for the game. It made me a little bit worried. Like, is it going to require an interview with these people for it just seems so coincidental that so many of these changes came out very, very shortly after that. And some, they even said they were going to go and look at said thing, so I'm really excited that we got the patch. I just hope that it doesn't require that, because for me, I started thinking, like, is there a point to Tyler doing his bug reports and his, players giving feedback? Is that actually listened to? Is that actually taken into account, or does it have to wait until they do an interview with a big streamer for some of this stuff to happen? So I don't know. Just a thought I had.
Well, it's an understandable hesitation to have, and it's a double-edged sword. Like, you love the fact that they're willing to, just with one interview, be like, oh yeah, let's check all this stuff out, and pretend that they're like a voice of 1,000 people speaking it, right? So like that's really cool, their willingness to do that. And yet on the other side, you hope that that's not where the majority of these issues come from. But it does seem like they're doing a great
the majority, because the fact is, I like Ziz, but Ziz is not representative of the majority of their players. He has a massive following that watch him, but most people don't play the amount he plays, to the level he plays. So I don't think that they actually are doing things because he brought them up. I'm sure a lot of this stuff was because they already had it on their mind, or it had already been reported or something. It's just when I read through the list, I was like, wow, they touched on so many of these things during that interview.
So last night I wrote maybe 5 bugs and like 3 feedbacks, and it's amazing. Like, already after one, and I'd post a bug, and then I'd like play a section or die, or try the King of the Mist again and then die, and then I'd go and I write another one, and already that post from 6 minutes ago was almost off the first page. And I'm just doing by creation time. I'm not including posts that are bumped. And like, to go through all this feedback,
it would be impossible.
It's so
because people
crazy.
think a bug is anything. Oh, I died, this isn't fair, or something was, what I mean? Like, it could be.
There's a lot of crap, and then there's a lot of that feedback, but then sometimes it's really valuable. Like, I made a post on minion survivability, like skeleton survivability, saying like, you don't progress with skeletons on your first playthrough. You give them to us, but they don't do anything. They can't survive. I have to use completely non-minion skills or raging spirits to progress, right? I make that post.
And they were like, screw that, we're going to nerf raging spirits. You will not.
Right. But I make that post, and it's a non-raging spirits minion post. Like, it's about the stereotypical default, minion experience, that archetype. And right away I get a bunch of replies from people saying like, I don't know what I'm talking about. And then I asked them how they leveled, and they all had raging spirits, right? But my example that I used in the post was like, I need decaying hex for my skeletons. And when I'm in the boss fight, it's not decaying hex and skeletons that are doing the work. It's only decaying hex, because my skeletons are always dead. Now, it was poor timing for the post, because 12 hours later, they came out with the e-patch that changed all of that, skeletons and life and all this. So obviously they were already doing all that before my post. But another thing is how long, I've been complaining about that for 4 months. I just made that post now. How many times do even developers sit on these kind of things? You know what I mean? And that's not a criticism. It's just that sometimes things take time, but sometimes feedback takes time. So whether you're in line with these changes or not, be patient. It's a process, but GGG seems to be really somehow on the ball with hearing a lot of feedback. They're not going to hear everything, but
their changes in these 2 were incredible. E-patch is probably my favorite patch of all of Path of Exile 2.
Right. But that's like, it's crazy that these severe changes are quote unquote mid-league. Now, again, this is what I think early access should be. Like, who cares if it's a league start or not? Just like, get it done. And this is exactly how I feel, which who cares how I feel? This is exactly how I feel early access should be. But man, wasn't that exciting. It makes you really feel like the progress matters, your feedback matters, and the game just keeps, whether it turns into the game you're hoping it is or not, the game itself is improving on a regular basis.
Yep.
So it's cool.
We got to wrap it up. My last note that I missed. Can you hear that noise? My stupid neighbors.
I couldn't tell if it was my computer.
Whirly bird God,
Right.
yeah. I don't think it comes through in the recording, but we hear it. I don't know if you ever did the map augury. It was one where you had to pull three levers and then you go into the middle and fight. It's a map. Okay, it was super annoying because you had to pull this lever down, and originally you were vulnerable but couldn't roll out of the thing. So if mobs were around, you could die while pulling the lever. Then they changed it to where you could roll out, but you still had to go through the animation of the lever. They removed the lever. It's just hit the crystal, touch the crystal, and it's done.
Oh, nice.
Oh, dude. I was so excited. There's so many small things that they made changes to that are phenomenal. It was funny. We had I got to give credit to people were more positively receptive than I thought people would be after our last episode, because Tyler and I were both pretty positive about the Path of Exile 2 and 0.20 and getting into it, and we were having a good time. After Dark wasn't so much. After Dark was more like, what the fuck?
Yeah, we were was it Jekyll and Hyde? I forget which one's first.
Yeah, After Dark was a little different than the main, but you know what? We were positive and people were giving positive feedback. So I appreciate it. I know Ty does too. So thank you to everybody who listens and just realizes you're listening to two idiots in their comments. Let's wrap this up.
That's us, idiots.
Forever Exiled, 288 Justin AK tags.
And I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
Patrons, we'll see you in After Dark as always. Everybody else, we'll see you next week in 289. If you're looking for more information, you can find it down below. We got a website, foreverexiled.com. We have the very best Discord. Pop in there, say hello. Don't come in there if you're trying to offer your services. You'll be banned. It's been very fun to do it. And what else? Patreon, other ways to support the podcast. You'll find them all over the place down below on our website. Peace.